once we have our drawing that is traced onto our foam block and we've traced it and then we went over it a second time, making the lines deeper and wider and everything looks clean, then the next step is to print it. Now there's many different colors of ink that you could use. I'm just using black and I'm going to get it out with a palette knife. Sometimes it's thick and sticky and sometimes it's thinner depending on what you're using. It does not take a lot of ink. I want to spread out a little bit using the palette knife. If you have to go to get more using the roller, then you want to be very careful not to get too much on what's called the brayer. And so I want to make sure that it rolls well before I start rolling it into the ink. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread this ink out. I'm trying to spread it out to a point where it's sticky and shiny, but it's flat everywhere. Too much ink will mess up your project. You don't want too much ink. I want it to be nice and spread out like this here. If I have to go get more and I get it in like this, you'll notice it's pretty hard to roll it and it has this nice clump here. You gotta really work out that clump going up and down a few times, making sure that it's smooth everywhere. That's something that students always mess up on. So the next step is to roll it onto our artwork, onto our foam block. There are different kinds of blocks. There are foam blocks, wood blocks, lino blocks, all different types. Right now, I'm just using a foam block. I want to make sure that the foam block is shiny and smooth, just like I had it over here. So if I have to get more, that's fine. But right here, you can tell it's still dry. It's not shiny everywhere. So I got to get more and I got to work this really quick before this dries here. And it may have an indentation there. So if it's not getting everywhere, it may be because there might be an indentation in the foam that's preventing that from happening. Normally I'd have a paper underneath this to keep it from getting onto the table. So if that's you, make sure you put a paper underneath it. Then I'm going to have this larger brayer to roll it on there. So I'm going to simply set the paper on top like this right here. I'm going to just press it down softly, hold it, make sure it doesn't move. And then I'm going to take this other brayer and I'm going to roll that paper just like this. Make sure you get everywhere, go two different directions. And this paper is probably sticking to it, which is a good thing because that means it's not going to move. It doesn't have to be super hard, but you do need to add quite a bit of pressure. So then we're simply going to peel it off. And you can see it has this kind of unique printmaking look. You can go back in with more ink right now and you can print another one. You can take a look at your lines to make sure that they're all clean on the paper. If any of the lines aren't working and they need to be a little deeper, then you can fix that real quick before you ink again. Watch what you do while you're grabbing the paper because you might have a little ink on your thumb or on your fingers. We're going to try our best not to spread it everywhere. And you can tell where I've rolled it and I had some on the table that it got on the paper. So you might even move your ink foam block to a different spot while you're pressing it so that you don't get it on the paper. Okay, that is printmaking with a foam block and ink. Whenever you're ready, I'll have this ink up here along with the brayer and keep this brayer, the bigger brayer, clean. Don't get any ink on it because we're going to be using it to roll on there. All right, whenever you're ready, I'm ready.